Hey everybody, how is it going? I hope you're doing well because today we are talking about music and today we're talking about a couple of little finds that I've been picking up lately over the course of the last month or so. Now, I don't know about you if you're involved in the different communities, but I always feel like I gotta, have to, for prosperity, record and catalog my recent finds before I put them away. And a lot of these I've already given many, many listens to, but I just want to kind of share them with you. Some of them I haven't gotten to quite yet, but they're on the way. And I always love hearing, your feedback and opinions on these. So I've got some vinyl we're going to start with, and then we got a couple CDs. All three of these records were found at the thrift shop. They were there's a thrift shop kind of close to my work, so once in a while I'll pop over if I don't have a busy lunch. And these hadn't been put out yet. They're the kind of thrift shop where all media, all vinyl is priced the same, which is great. These, weren't put out yet, so I was able to snag them. Now, this first one is a great album. I didn't own a copy before. This is Harder, Faster by April Wine. Show off the back. This is a fantastic album from the group, kind of slowly making my way through their discography. This one's about a half hour and change long. It's great. It's harder and it is faster. It's just great, a hard rock from the period. Notable is on the second half, you have a cover of 21st Century Schizoid Man by King Crimson. It's a pretty good cover. Obviously, I don't think anything will ever compare to the original, but really cool that, April Wine of all bands would take on, what many consider the birth of prog rock as we know it. So excellent record. If you've never heard April Wine, give this one a listen. It's a great record all around. The third one here is an okay record all around. And this one is Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die by Jethro Tull. There we go. This one's in okay shape. It is the gatefold, which is nice. It's a little noisy. I gave it kind of a loose clean. Looked pretty good. Got rid of the dust to give it a second pass, and it was still a little bit of noise. Just sort of ambient, not necessarily a lot of clicks and pops, just kind of noisy. So I have to turn it up, and that doesn't quite fix it all around. Um, Jethro Tull, one of those bands for me that they've always been kind of at the B-ish tier for me in terms of the prog I listen to and even the music in general I listen to. I like a lot of their stuff, and I own a lot of it. Well, comparatively, maybe not. I own a good chunk of their albums. But this one in particular is pretty good. Not one of my favorites, but I'm glad to have that in the collection because I think they're one of those bands that over time, I'll just slowly kind of plug away at their discography and find the gems that I do like. This last one, mostly because I feel like I'm a completionist for this band. This is Works Volume 1 by ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This is a double album. Show off the back. ELP is a band that I love for the reason that they represent kind of the best elements of prog rock and the worst elements. And what I mean by that is when people say, I don't really like prog rock, for whatever reasons they do give, you can find them in ELP. And for whatever reasons people love the genre of prog rock, you can hear them in ELP. This record is kind of for me where the wheels start falling off the bus for the band. Egos were at play so much so that there are a few tracks where they're performing together as a band, and those are by far the best tracks on this album. But otherwise, you get a collection of three kind of solo pieces, extended symphonic suite from Keith Emerson. Greg Lake has some okay solo work, but Greg's solo albums are much better than what's presented on here. They're kind of light and fluffy on here, nothing much. I would say the Palmer works are the best ones on here, but then again, by far and away, the band tracks are the best ones on here. Again, definitely not an album to recommend if you're not already a fan of the band. Check out the first four, including the live album 5. But otherwise, happy to add this to the collection. Are they a band? I mean, I enjoy them. Are they a band I need to finish off that collection of? Probably not. But again, if I ever come across some of these albums while thrifting, I'll pick them up certainly. Now these next ones, let's organize it here by what was bought at the record store versus also found while thrifting. Yeah, here we go. Let's go here. This is Errol Garner, the album Solitaire, which has a few bonus tracks as well, which is really cool. Here we go there. I've been trying to get into kind of jazz in general more lately, and finding out that kind of cool jazz is a genre that I really appreciate, starting with Bill Evans and kind of expanding from there. Errol Garner is a name I've made a note in my head to kind of keep an eye out for. I was happy to find this album, happy that it had some bonus tracks on it. It's pretty light and breezy kind of piano work, and it's exactly what you know, it's the kind of genre, the kind of music that you know when you need it, and when you need it, you can put something like this on and you're good to go. So that's fabulous. Next up, Found While Thrifting was the soundtrack to 500 Days of Summer. I mean, notable for including the Smiths on here as well as a cover of, you know, please, please, please let me get what I want. And there is a light on that never goes out. It's also got, what else is on here? A lot of Regina Spektor. There's some Simon Garfunkel, some Feist, some Hall & Oates, some Doves. Fun movie, really, really fun movie. And happy to get the soundtrack as I'm kind of slowly getting ready to do a soundtrack, I don't know, video collaboration, some sort of soundtrack video at some point. So happy to get that. Last one is the third album from Counting Crows, This Desert Life. Notable, it's got the great track, Hanging Around, one of my favorites from the group. There. I like that it has side one and side two, even though this is a CD. Again, one of those bands that I enjoy, never been a massive, massive fan, but now I've got their first three albums, which I think for many are kind of the ones you need to have. Will I continue to collect for this band? Probably not, unless, you know, someone in the comments is telling me otherwise. I've got to check out. I think they only have two or so albums beyond these three. But I've got, you know, the albums with the hits that I know on them. So I think I'm good there, but really enjoyable record. I've only listened to this once through already, but had a good time. Now these last two albums are kind of a celebratory, you know, gonna get myself a little treat kind of gifts. Had coffee with a friend. They shared some really good news that impacts me for some stuff coming up. So I was like, oh, let's get some, you know, like music that ties thematically to that idea, you know, and keep that a motive train going. So I got two albums. This is Paracosm by Washed Out, which is actually, it's not necessarily a band. I mean, they tour as a band, but it's really one person. This is sort of, you know, shoegazy, synth wave, synth pop kind of stuff. Really dreamlike, very atmospheric, really enjoyable to put on and sort of chill out. So this is a good album. I think I've only ever heard this album than the first. I think I like the first one a little bit more, but these ones are actually, they're both really, really good. So happy to have that. And the last one, can I pronounce this? It's by Sigur Rós Agnes V. Bergen. Agalis Bergen. It was their breakout one from '99. This one here. It's got some fantastic tracks on here. Again, I'm not going to bother to try and pronounce them. But if you've never heard Sigur Rós, they're kind of that post-rock vein. They're Icelandic, so a lot of their songs are sung in this made-up language, you know, borrowing some elements from krautrock there. I would say, as a band, kind of what separates Sigur Rós from a lot of their contemporaries, they have a bit more of like an alt rock vibe. If you think of you know, some of the composition or instrumentation in Radiohead, that sort of stuff, you get a little bit of that on here. I'd say some of their not later records, some of the records after this one have a bit more of that. This is a fantastic album to put on. So not a big collection today of albums, but I wanted to get through them. Especially there's a lot of diversity here, and I kind of wanted to get your opinions on them. But that's going to do it for me. So let's hear it from you, and I'll catch you next time.